Hi friends, today we're going to be talking about if I could only choose one product in each category. Am I actually going to be able to do this? Only time will tell, but I'm going to do my best. Let's first just quickly address the elephant in the room here. I'm looking hella rough today because I just finished my second round of broadband light laser therapy, and what it does is it basically addresses red and brown spots. So all of your hyperpigmentation darkens and then it like falls off. So I'm documenting the entire journey for YouTube, but you have to have like 3 sessions over the course of 3 months. So that video is not even going to be live until August, but just know I'm documenting it, and that's why my face looks like this. So let's get started. I'm going to go with first foundation. This should be no surprise, the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Foundation. This is in the shade R220 Pink Porcelain, and it's a really good match for me right now. I'm going to use it with this huge Real Techniques like face and body sponge. And I did 2 pumps on the back of my hand. Luckily with the laser treatment, you can put makeup on right afterwards. There's no like downtime you need to worry about. I just can't use actives for a week. I'm not gonna put this under my eyes because since I am aging, I don't want to layer too much makeup under my eyes. I'll leave that for my concealer. And really, let's talk about why I love each product so much. Oh no, I got it in my hair. The one time I actually put effort into my hair. This product is so good because on me, it's the definition of a skin-like foundation. It's perfect. It is not matte. It's not dewy. It just looks like skin. It's really undetectable once it's on my face. I never have to worry about my foundation looking bad throughout the day. It just wears so beautifully. Hopefully you can see as I'm blending this out that it's obviously evening out my skin tone, which is extra uneven today with all of the laser hyperpigmentation that's darkening on my face. But maybe that's a really great situation right now to show you why I love this foundation so much. It shows you exactly how much coverage it has because I do have all this stuff that I'm dealing with post-procedure. I feel like it's got a beautiful medium coverage finish, and you can certainly build that up if you want to, though I don't think it ever gets to like a full coverage situation, but that's cool with me. I don't really want full coverage foundation. I would rather go in then with a spot concealer. Next up, my favorite like blemish concealer, and that's always and forever the Makeup Forever Full Cover Concealer. I don't even know what shade this is anymore because it's so old, but it's just the best. One of the symptoms of the laser treatment is that the heat from the laser can block pores. So I'm dealing with a couple more breakouts than I usually have. It's quite matte, but still skin-like. It does not budge. It's totally waterproof, the concealer is, and it's just full coverage. Doesn't look too heavy or cakey, although this shade at this point is a little too yellow for me. So when I run out, I'm gonna finally get a different shade. Honestly, I think with all of the hyperpigmentation from the laser today, I'm not gonna try to cover that up because it's just gonna take forever. So instead, I'm gonna move right into under eye concealer, and I have the Fit Glow Concealer in C2.5. It's my favorite under eye concealer. You know, for people who don't like this, I think it's because, you know, maybe sometimes things just don't work for everybody, but also, I think that you can use this wrong. And so I'm going to show you how I like to use it. I don't do any more than that. It is full coverage. It's also very thick. It's dewy, but it's not overly dewy that it highlights texture. And you might be thinking, oh, well, if it's thick, I don't like that. I want a concealer that's super, lightweight and blendable. But do you really? Do you? Because I don't find that that's actually as flattering under the eyes. See how that just smoothed everything out? Like, it's not just covering, it's smoothing. And that's because the Fit Glow concealers, all the Fit Glow makeup is like skincare and skincare treatments with mineral pigments. So it's like skincare meets makeup. There are actual skincare benefits, and that's what soothes the under eye area so much. I've heard a couple people saying this feels too dry on them, which is so interesting to me because for me, it's like very hydrating. But to each their own. What I will say though is you saw that just that tiny little amount on each corner really did my whole eye. You do not need a lot of this. Don't do the whole Instagram triangle thing, or you will just feel like it's too heavy, it's too thick, it settles into lines. This is meant to be used sparingly. So I just focus it right where I need it in the inner corner. And I try to skip where I have this kind of, I'll show you, that kind of thicker under eye line. That's where products tend to crease and settle. So I try to kind of skip that, and then I bounce it on the tops of my cheeks where I have hyperpigmentation and just kind of focus it there. I don't, I kind of blend it throughout the whole under eye, but I don't add extra product in the middle of my under eye area. And this to me is a no-brainer, easy pick of the only concealer truly that I need for my under eyes. I would be totally happy if I don't own anything else. The only other concealer I love is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, and that's more so because of the shade. It's just a more kind of like peachy brightening shade. Sometimes I like that, but this, nothing will ever beat it. I know this concealer also has antibacterial properties, so it's good to use on blemishes, and I forget what else they told me about it, but it just has a bunch of skincare benefits for like soothing and smoothing and all that good stuff. I'm just gonna add a little bit extra on my hyperpigmentation here. I love it. Look at that. I feel like that looks really good, right? You know what? Don't tell me. Too many people giving me negative feedback lately. Don't tell me if it doesn't look good. I don't care anymore. The only bronzer I will ever need, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Light Bronze. The price is right. It's my perfect shade and finish. I don't think I've owned another bronzer, like except for when I was in high school and I used the NARS Laguna bronzer, which was like way too dark and yellow for me, and I looked like a trash monster. But this is just so subtle. I can just add a little bit of warmth, and I can build it up as well, which is nice. It's not too matte. It's not super shimmery, which I love. It is just the perfect shade, and I know that they added more shades, so that is awesome, because I think Physicians Formula really struggles with inclusivity at the drugstore. But for their bronzers, seems like that's where they shine a little bit more. So I really just focus it on the outer perimeter of my face, and I don't really do my nose. I don't really do my chin either, because Mariah Leonard gave a tip that with your bronzers, if you do it all over your face and like your nose and your chin, the difference between your face and your neck is just going to be super intense. So that's what it looks like just doing the Mariah Leonard trick of forehead, cheeks. For brows, my favorite brow pencil is a drugstore favorite as well. It's the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer, and it's in the shade Brunette. For me, if I just find a staple that is absolutely perfect for me, and it's from the drugstore, I don't need anything else. I don't need more expensive brow products because this one's perfect. And so is my brow gel from the drugstore. So is my bronzer, and then once I find my hero staple products, then I can play around more with, blush, lip products, and eyeshadows. But I have like one mascara, one eyelash curler, one brown liner, like one brow product, one bronzer. I just prefer to have a more minimal collection where I can be, and then, play with the rest. I also find that this shade Brunette is really a good match for me. It's not too warm brown, which is an issue I have with some more brown pencils. It's got a little bit of ashiness to it, which I like because I'm naturally I have very dirty blonde hair. As you can see, I haven't dyed my hair in 2 years. But I'm about to. I think I'm gonna go back to blonde, but I might do like a Lily James honey golden blonde. I actually had a guy say to me at an unintentional party that I went to. He told me when I walked in the room, he had one of those like big personalities. He's obviously extremely insecure. And he said to me, "Hi, you look like every blonde girl I've ever met." And I was just like, it's still like a month later. I can't stop thinking about it every day. I'm like, wow, I'm boring and vanilla and forgettable. Also, fuck that guy. He sucks. There are a lot of things I'm struggling with right now and things I'm thinking about. But anyways, not to go too far off topic here. The next product is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. It's my favorite brow gel. This is in the shade Taupe. It's the best shade match for me, although when I want a really bold brow look, I go for the shade Brunette, but it's just very warm. It looks very like reddish brown. But Taupe, this is where it's at. I find, I never liked the Glossier Brow Boy because it got so messy all over my brows. It was like a very wet formula. This isn't from e.l.f. This is a little bit of like a fiber brow gel, I think. To me, it holds my unruly brows in place. It's a perfect shade match. It, feels like it adds a little bit of fiber to the hairs. What more could you want? It's like no dollars. You could pay this in pennies if you wanted to. It's so cheap. I love my drugstore faves. The next one's blush. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do one product from each category in terms of powder blush and then cream blush. Psych, probably not gonna be able to narrow it down that much. Okay, so the 3 blushes I consider powders that I can't narrow it down to are the MAC Glow Play blush in Blush Please, the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur in Blurred Buff, and the Bare Minerals Bronzer in Kiss of Rose. Now, I applied both of these in my recent Best and Worst new blush video, so I'm not going to apply those. And I don't think I've ever applied the MAC Glow Play in Blush Please, but basically I considered these all powders because this is a powder, the bronzer. These two are cream powder hybrids, but I apply them like a powder with a brush, so I count them as powders. Since I've applied the Bare Minerals ones recently, I'm gonna go in with the MAC Glow Play blush. It's just this perfect kind of neutrally mauve, but it actually doesn't end up looking, as you can see, it doesn't end up looking like this on the skin as much. It pulls a little bit warmer, or there's like a little bit more pink when it's on my face, which I appreciate because that adds a little bit of brightness and warmth. But it's that Glow Play cream powder hybrid formula. It just makes the skin look airbrushed. Obviously a little hard to tell because I have that hyperpigmentation darkening from the laser, but I just find it's the easiest blush to apply. You just can't overdo it. It looks so seamless. I don't know. I just feel like it's such a foolproof formula that I would have to say that my favorite like powder blush is the Glow Play formula, which is extremely similar to the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur, but the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur only comes in 4 shades. Again, I can't really pick a favorite, but man, this one might be my favorite. I don't know, but the bronzer in Kiss of Rose is so beautiful. Blurred Buff is so beautiful. You guys knew I wouldn't be able to pick a favorite blush. I mean, come on. Like, not in a million years was that gonna happen. So there you go, the MAC Glow Play blush in Blush Please. Man, I love that. Highlighters were also difficult for me to choose. I have a lot that I love, but the 2 I can't stop reaching for are the Phytosurgence Spectral Shine Balm in Mirrored Moonlight, and a new one to my collection, the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in the shade 3. Because it's not the most intuitive, user-friendly formula, I am gonna go with the new one to my collection, which is the, Hollywood Flawless Filter. This is a mini size I got for $15. I love that they have some minis, although I wish that they made minis of every single shade. This is the shade 3, and on the back of my hand, you can see it looks very dark, but usually on top of blush, that's okay with highlighters. And I prefer a highlighter that matches my skin tone, kind of like a tan shade, than, or like a tan on me shade, than like a bright white highlighter like I used to use for so many years. I just find that this, I fucking get the hype now. I finally get it. It's beautiful. You can wear it under your makeup mixed in with foundation. I get it. It just adds the most perfect luminosity. And the reason this is the one I would pick, if I could only pick one for the rest of my life, is it's so skin-like and natural. You can't detect it on your face. Like, I'm looking in the mirror and I cannot see makeup on my face. It just looks like a stream of light. And you can't mess it up because it's relatively subtle, because it's a great shade match for me. It's also not like liquidy or sticky. Like some of my favorite balmy highlighters, like When I used to support RMS and Nude Sticks, their highlighters I loved. But you know, in the summertime, they can get a little oily. So this just sets down to that perfect skin light finish, and it sets so that it lasts all day, doesn't disturb your makeup. And I mean, shit, didn't that just make my skin look really good and healthy, but without looking like I'm, you know, trying to look like I'm wearing a ton of highlighter? And then I just take whatever's, you know, excess and I put it right above my eyebrows and then brow bone, and I just kind of spread that out to make sure that everything looks a little more cohesive. Very nice. Powder, I don't really have a favorite powder. I don't really powder a lot. This is the Charlotte Tilbury in Fair, but it's a nice powder. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a powder person. I forgot I was going to do a cream blush category. Let's talk about that now. Again, I can't pick one cream blush. That would be crazy town. So again, I'm going to pick three. My three favorite formulas. If I had to pick one, it would probably be the Air Perez Carrot Color Pot in the shade Harmony. First of all, the shade is beautiful. It's this peachy pink, but it's on the skin. It's like not intense. So if I just did like a little bit of that, you can see it's actually not very intense. I just built up the swatch. And look at it. It looks wet in the pot. Look at that. It's beautiful. But it just, oh my goodness. It's the one of the only cream blush formulas that really actually looks airbrushed on the skin. Not many cream formulas do that. But this one, I can just like blend it out with a finger. It's like such a soft texture. Oh my God. It is so freaking nice. I would probably pick this. The only thing that gives me pause is that this is the only shade I like. They have other shades. There's like a very yellowy neutral brown, I think. And then there's a bunch of like extremely bright or dark shades that I just don't want. So it would probably just be this one. Since that's not very widely available, I also wanted to give an honorable mention to the Say Dewy Blush in Rosy, which is actually very, very similar. I'm going to apply it right next to it. They're pretty damn similar. The Say Dewy Blush is much thinner, much more of a liquid, and it's slightly more orangey, whereas the Air Perez is a little bit lighter and has a touch more pink, which I prefer. Rosy, though, extremely similar. So, you know, if you're debating between the two and you have access to a Sephora but not to Air Perez, you know, you can go with the Say. But they both kind of have that same sheen and dewiness on the skin. They're both extremely easy to apply and blend with fingers. I just adore both of them. Another cream blush favorite, God, the Phytosurgeons products, they're just so good. This is the shade Simmer, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's very pigmented. You can see it's like a dense, whipped cream formula. And when I apply it here, so pigmented. Like crazy, but it's amazing. Again, it's another cream blush formula that just kind of looks airbrushed on the skin, and it's so pigmented, and yet it's so blendable. You know, I don't really have that experience with a lot of cream blushes. I know that a lot of people subscribe to me because I love cream blush, but I'm really gravitating more towards the cream powder hybrids these days. But this is a cream formula that I think is so pigmented, and they have a lot of great shades, and so they're really inclusive. But the shades are still really easy to work with on fair skin, and they blend out. With a sponge, you could blend this out in a second, even though it's so pigmented. So have to give an honorable mention to the Phytosurgeon Skin Sparks. All right, next we've got eyeshadow. And did you think I could narrow this down to one product? No, I can't, but I did narrow it down to one product in each eyeshadow category. So the favorite palette is the Rowan 75 Degrees Warm palette, and I'll swatch it for you real quick. So this is what all four of the shades look like. Oh my God, is that not nice? So we have this shiny kind of foiled glitter topper, and then the two bronzy shades I adore, and then the orangey shade. And they are just reflective, glitter, creamy, adult finger painting watery goodness. My favorite shade is this one right here. And yes, these crease, but I just tap it out with my finger as I go. I love the way this looks on the skin. It just feels like very editorial, kind of like intentionally messy. So that was my favorite palette. Moving along to my favorite cream eyeshadow, and I have to give it to the Danessa Myricks Color Fix. This is in the shade Celebration. I've applied this on my channel, and I've already applied the Rowan 75 Degrees, so I'm not going to apply these today, but this is just a cream eyeshadow formula you cannot mess up. It blends out so beautifully. It's not a cream shadow like the Tom Ford or the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize, and the Charlotte Tilbury is one of my favorite formulas. However, that does fade at the end of the day. It does get a little creasy. This does not. This is so foolproof, lasts all day. I mean, it sets down to this beautiful satin finish. It's just perfect. It's a perfect formula. It's fantastic for beginners because you can blend it out with your fingers. You've got enough time to work with it, but then it sets down and it lasts all day. Next up is the powder eyeshadow category, and I have to give it to a new favorite of mine, and it's the MAC Extra Dimension Eyeshadow in Amorous Alloy. This is my ideal smoky eye look because it's a reddish brown that just makes my blue eyes pop. This is going to be featured in my upcoming dupes video. Again, that's coming. I just bought an actual camera, a Canon. I got the mic and the tripod. I'm waiting for one more thing to be delivered. I really want to give you guys the best quality for the dupes video and the one and done eyeshadow video. So I'm going to film that on my new camera and give you better quality for those videos that I want to be really great. But anyways, this will be featured in both of those videos, and it is a stunningly beautiful formula. When you touch it, it is soft. It doesn't feel dry. It is just this stunning reddish brown shade, and it just looks, you know, if you want it to be super pigmented and metallic, it looks like that. It's not like very shiny. It's not like super glittery. It just looks effortlessly sexy. It's my favorite powder eyeshadow formula. I also have the shade Sweet Heat, which I love, and I wish that MAC made a lot more shades of this because I am not really gravitated towards any of the others. But man, this is really good. I have to apply this in a video. I can promise you a lot of you guys will fall in love with this, and you'll see it's like the sexiest eyeshadow ever. It really is. So this takes the cake for powder eyeshadow. This would not be a State of Kate video if my number one eyeshadow weren't a glitter topper. Now, in reality, my all-time favorite eyeshadow is the Hourglass Scattered Light in Ray, but Hourglass continues to disappoint consumers and our pleas for inclusivity, and they've really ignored it. They've literally ignored comments and DMs and never replied to any of them, and then just continue to launch shit that's only good for people with fair skin. So I'm not going to apply this today. But I am going to show you a dupe that I found for it, and I'll compare it on the back of my hand for you. I have spent hundreds of dollars and 3 months searching for a dupe for the Hourglass Scattered Lights eyeshadow in Ray, and I have not found a perfect one. But the one that comes closest is from this Kaja Bento Box Trio in Orange Blossom, and it's the bottom shade called Baked Cinnamon. And on the back of my hand, they're very close. When they're on my eyes though. On the back of my hand, they look different. On the eyes, they look pretty similar. Here's the difference. In formula wise, the Kaja is a little bit grittier. The Hourglass is so soft. Also, you can see the Hourglass has more of a peachy base and a lot more glitter, whereas the Kaja has more of a bronze base with a little less glitter. But I think because of that, people are actually gonna like this more. And I have a little concealer on my lids, which is good so that the glitter has something to stick to. And you can see the concealer, and I kind of like press it into the creases of my concealer. It's really pretty, right? I mean, on the eyes, even though it's not quite as much of a peachy base, it does look similar to Hourglass Ray. It's the closest dupe I've found. I really just wish I could find a great dupe for you for this shadow. I've tried everything. I've searched high and wide. I've spent so much money, and I can't find one. So my favorite eyeshadow is still Hourglass Ray, but this, it's beautiful, right? And because I pressed it in with my fingers and I didn't wipe, I didn't get any fallout. So these are so cheap. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So that's Kaja Baked Cinnamon from the Orange Blossom Trio. Really loving that. Next, my tried and true Kevyn Aucoin eyelash curler. It's just perfect. The product I always use to tightline my upper is the NYX Slide On Eye Pencil in Brown Perfection. Again, another drugstore favorite. It's affordable. It's a good brown shade. And it doesn't transfer to my lower waterline. So, love it. I kind of just like push it through and blink. But I make crazy faces, so I generally always apply it off camera. But yeah, that's a great liner. Very affordable. My favorite mascara is definitely the Thrive Liquid Lash Extension Mascara. This one's in the black shade, which is called Bryn. At first, it's a little bit too wet. And for me right now, mine's still a little in the wet phase. What happens when you have a wet concealer is that it can just weigh down your lashes so it doesn't hold a curl as well. Favorite number one thing in a mascara is that it has to hold a curl well. So you really just have to like dry this out a little bit and use it a bunch, and then it gets to the perfect consistency. And I've had a lot of people in the comments say that they've had the exact same experience. It's just like pretty heavy and wet at first, and then once it dries down, it's perfect. And the reason it's so perfect is, you know, it's a tubing mascara. So it just kind of like holds on to your lashes, and you just need water to remove it. I mean, I can't go back to mascaras that require you to like use makeup remover and like really get in there with a cleansing balm. I don't want to go back to that. So just because of ease of removing this, I love it so much. But then, you know, once it reaches the perfect level of dryness, it holds a curl really well. It adds length and volume for me. And it's really just, it's perfect. The final category is lips. And I'm going to skip lipstick actually because frankly, I haven't found my perfect lipstick formula yet. And we'll see. I'll keep you updated. But my favorite lip liner is the Citizens Cosmetics Lip Stroke in Deux. It's the best formula, man. It's the best formula. You know, look at this. It glides right on. Glides on like the Thrive Cosmetics Khaki Liner, which is also a favorite. But it sets down and lasts a long time like the Charlotte Tilbury liner. I love Pillow Talk. And it's this beautiful nude shade with a little pink. And I always soften my Cupid's bow a little here because it's so pointy. And I just love, you know, the Charlotte Tilbury lip cheat. I love that, especially the shade Pillow Talk, but it's a waxier formula. So, you know, it doesn't glide on with ease like this does, but it does last a really long time. This doesn't last quite as long. So it just depends on your preference. But I also love the Thrive Cosmetics liner in Khaki, which is more of like a reddish brown shade that I love. And I also love the new Fit Glow liners in Nude and Buff. But this shade combined with the glideability, I just love it so much. You already know what I'm going to pick for best like lip product or lip gloss, and it's the Fit Glow Lip Serums. My two favorite shades are Beach Glow and Gospel. So I'm going to apply both for you today. Gospel is like this shimmery copper. Is that not just such a beautiful lip color? Damn! But I'm going to take that one off and do Gospel. Gospel is the shade I wish my lips naturally were. It's a warm berry, but it's not too dark. It's not too purple. It's the perfect, flushed, healthy, sexy lip. Isn't that so pretty? I mean, man, looking in the mirror, I can really tell that it's a full face of my favorite products. Like, if I could only have one product from each category, I mean, damn, I wouldn't be mad about looking like this every day, I tell you that much. But definitely too hard for me to pick a favorite blush or a favorite eyeshadow. or even a favorite lip color from the Fit Glow Lip Serums. But I'm really happy with how this came out. So I hope you like it. If you have any other fun kind of like tag ideas like this, definitely let me know because I'm having so much fun doing this kind of stuff. I think this turned out great. I wish I could do it again with like all the other products that I chose with the different shades, but that's enough for now. Yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.